separate, whether I feel angry or not. It's just a separate issue. It's just an associated piece. It's not about the fundamental issue. The fundamental issue here is taking in what you've been learning, what your mate has been trying to tell you, that she had to get some quack shrink wrap guy to try to wrap things up, and I think so. My goal, my challenge, is to see what's happening through the kind of bumbling efforts that are being made. So the point that I'm trying to get, I'm dancing around this. Well, I'm kind of dancing around a fire, and there are these interesting kind of ritual things that are done at a place like Kripalu and other places where people try to use old rituals to build up a sense of connection that's a mind-body connection to something important, something more spiritual. So what I am trying to do is something spiritual, not in the sense of, what's up there, what should you believe, what should I believe, but rather, well, what is my spirit? What's the essence of my life and who I am and where I'm going and what I believe is right, so that if my goal is to do the right thing, Spike Lee, go ahead and sue me if you want. If my goal is to do the right thing, like take that chair and smash it through the pizza store window. What is a shivra, you may ask? SHVRE stands for, well, I'm going to break it down and start with VRE. That's important because I use voice recognition a lot. And I just got distracted by the fact that I've just recently started to feel what my phone is doing when it moves quickly. When I move it quickly, it's letting me know. That's called haptic feedback. And I thought that just meant things like the little buzzing feeling when you push a button. I mean, not a button, right? It's push a place on the screen that, for the moment, is an I, which is right next to an O. And so you could accidentally, most likely, you're not going to get it totally on the I. You're going to get it partly on the O. E-I-E-I-O, And so this is where word prediction facilities are very important, because it's very inaccurate to type on this tiny little keypad, this virtual keypad, but there's this prediction ability that allows you to do some amazing things, which I've started to discover. But anyway, I'm going a little too far into the word. The WPE, I call them, are the errors, which can sometimes be very funny, hilarious sometimes, and often there's this feeling of almost serendipitous confluence of a totally bizarre error and something that and what you're actually thinking about, like a new slant on what you're thinking about, and that there's something so opening about that. The small Q's are quotation marks, because these voice recordings, when I label them, the labels become the file names when I take all of these off my phone and put them on my computer. So I cannot use non-standard characters, such as question marks, quotation marks, etc. Anyway, that's what Q's are. Eventually back to VRE, SHVRE. So VRE, we know that the E is errors, because I'm telling you there are these word prediction errors where you're typing in one thing and a completely different word pops up. It can be very annoying, but as I say, it could actually be serendipitously hilarious. So that's when you're typing, or you're texting, you're entering through text. That's a word prediction error. And then the other way is through the use of the supercomputer that you have access to at all times through these new phones. You know, my little snippet of something I say, when I say something, and as soon as I stop, it sends it off up through the satellites and down into these banks and banks of, you know, how many tens of thousands of PCs does Google have, and constantly adding new ones all the time, and using highly inefficient but very effective, super broken down, like super parallel processing. You take this program and toss it out into 35 different processes, or maybe more for all I know. I have no idea. I mean, this stuff is unbelievable. And because the power, the computing power, is getting cheaper by the second, well, just keep working on software. That's what Google does. It says, well, how does math fundamentally change the world? And Google is changing the world. And and they're changing it in very significant ways. Not only them, but they happen to be the leaders in changing the world. And change, well, does change equal progress, and does progress equal good? Or what is progress? Change always happens, right? So we want to know about what kind of change. And then we want to say, well, we have change into the future is not at all the same as change towards progress, although some people might define progress as more of blank, more money, more material goods. Other people might say progress is in human interaction. And to compare how we are doing now to 200 years ago, I mean, it's very clear that there's been all sorts of very positive progress. However, there has been some regress. I don't think that's really the right word. But anyway, regression, yeah, I guess it is. We just don't usually use regress instead of progress. You used to say regression. I don't know why. Maybe it's too raw and scary to think about regress. And it also sounds like redress, and it doesn't really mean that, does it? But it also sounds like regret. Well, that's an interesting pairing. Regress, regret. Well, do we have time to regret? I personally think that regretting should have absolutely nothing to do with regressing.